Shabbat Shalom to everyone. It's nice seeing people this evening. The Jewish people is a hungry people. For example, food is very important in the Torah, in the Bible. Adam and Eve must leave the Garden of Eden because even though they have all the fruit-bearing trees to eat, they must eat from the tree of knowledge, which is forbidden. Abraham shows hospitality to strangers through cooking an elaborate feast for them. Jacob and Esau distort their whole relationship over lentil soup. I mean, am I right or wrong? It's lentil soup. The history of the world would be different if there wasn't lentil soup. Okay. Joseph is united with his brothers because of famine, and he offers them this feast to re-engage them. The book of Exodus and Leviticus are filled with all kinds of regulations about what foods can and cannot be eaten, and what the priests eat and what they don't eat. And beyond the Torah, who could argue with the idea that black and white cookies are one of the Jewish people's great contributions to civilization? Okay, so, this is a footnote. This is not what I'm talking about tonight, but there are 10 cookies here, and I pray that 10 of them will be eaten at the Oneg Shabbat, because if they are, we're changing the nature of the Oneg Shabbat. We might be adding these to them. So I don't want to go into the history of black and white cookies, but it's very... Tom Barnett, this is New York City Jewish culture. Okay, I don't want to hear anything more. Okay. Food is even connected, in seriousness, with the miraculous. This substance that's called manna. When the Israelites come out of Egypt, God must cater the journey. And we are told that, like a good parent, God takes care of the people of Israel. Manna comes down to earth 6 days a week. It was collected, and we are told that on Friday there was a double portion to be collected because God's kosher bakery was not open on Shabbat. God does this for 40 years. Now, the taste of manna is described in the Torah in a variety of ways. Flour, honey, rich cream. And the Midrash, the rabbinic tradition, harmonizes these texts by suggesting that manna could taste like anything. If you wanted to taste like a corned beef sandwich, it tastes like a corned beef sandwich. This would be sacrilege, but if you wanted to taste like Kansas City barbecue, I guess it would taste like Kansas City barbecue. And manna was magical. It was like the original tofu. It would taste like anything. And I am not kidding about this. The Hebrew says, bake what you would bake. And in Hebrew, and I'm translating into Hebrew, et asher tofu efu. That's what the Torah says. Now, tofu here means something different, but there's something there, isn't there? I believe that manna was the first example of what would be known in our world as Uber Eats. It comes and you don't have to cook. Now, in this week's Parsha, Moses reviews the story of manna, and he emphasizes, and manna is not to be seen as a blessing, but as a test. Just think about that. It's not a blessing, it's a test. And the Torah says this in this week's Torah portion, who fed you in the wilderness with manna, which your fathers had never known, in order to test you by hardship, only to benefit you in the end. Life is a test. We're tested all the time. We struggle to make a living, to raise our children, to build up our communities. Nothing comes easily, and we're tested. We're tested to see how we respond to hardship and disappointment, hurt, and challenge. But if all your needs are given to you easily, without struggle, wouldn't we consider that a blessing? We would not have to worry about anything. We could do the things that we want without any struggle, to educate our children, to go on vacations, to fix up our house, to have fantastic cars, you name it. The things that we want, we could have it. We wouldn't have to struggle for them. What if everything we needed came to us like manna from heaven? Would we consider this a test? I don't get it. Of course, in Judaism, nothing is left without interpretation and explanation. And several of the commentators come to certain understandings of what the Torah means. What kind of test is this? Rashi, the 12th century commentator, explains that God was referring to the laws that govern manna. One could not store away any manna for the next day, except one had to collect a double portion on Friday. That's the reason we have two challahs, but that's a whole other topic. Okay, no, it is. That's the reason, but that was just a throwaway, because I want you to be well educated. And so a double portion on Friday and so forth, that is the test, according to Rashi. Would the Jewish people observe the laws of manna scrupulously? That's not the one I'm interested in. Sforno, who was an Italian commentator, offers something that really resonates with me. He explains that the test is to see if the Jews would still follow the Torah when they do not have to worry about their livelihood. Let me say that again. He explains that the test to see that if the Jews would still follow the Torah when they don't have to worry about their livelihood. Let's think about this. This seems so relevant. Yes, there is this great test in bread raining down from heaven. Affluence without effort is a dangerous thing. It comes with great amounts of leisure time and freedom of action, yet what do we do with the leisure time and freedom of action? Do we use our leisure time, our freedom to act, to serve God and humanity, or to satisfy our narcissistic needs for self-gratification? This is the great test of manna. Now, we're all aware of the test of poverty. We are all aware of the trials and tribulations of being poor, depression, crime, family conflict, drug abuse, hunger. And God forbid we experience it. It's a horrible thing. We never want that. However, Sforno is saying affluence also comes with great temptations. It puts a tremendous responsibility on a person. This is the test. It's a test for many people in affluent times, in affluent societies. The Maggid of Mistrich once said that when people face troubles, sickness or mortal danger, they become religious. They come to synagogue. They pray fervently. Some say psalms from the Bible as a way of asking God for intervention. Some give charity in a generous way. They want God's blessing. They want a religious get-out-of-hell card. But when things are going well, when they're doing wonderfully, do they give as much thought to God? And I'm using God in a broader sense, religion, spirituality, whatever you want to put in that bag. They feel that religion perhaps is unnecessary. In terms of cost-benefit analysis, it doesn't have the sufficient benefit to spend time on it. This is the test of manna. This is a test of upper-middle-class suburban life for all faith communities. As people do better and feel greater mastery in their lives, which is wonderful, some tend to drift away from the community, from their faith tradition, even from their families. There are two responses to success and affluence. One is to say, I have made it, I'm going to look out for myself. The other is, thank you, I've been blessed. And I couldn't have done it without the support of a power greater than myself, my community, and my friends. I owe something to the community. I have to give something back. I have to make sure that my success doesn't go to my head. I need my religion to keep me humble and centered. And that certainly is one of the purposes of religion, to keep us humble before God. Mana is a test. It can lead us to taking what we have for granted. It can lead us to selfishness. Why do I have to worry about others? And let me translate this into something quite practical, parenting. Our instinct is to help our children, to make it easier for them. Wouldn't you agree? I mean, I don't know anyone who wants to make life hard for their children. You know? Is that... Okay, but you're gonna like where I'm going here. Take a deep breath. Yet not getting everything so easily strengthens us. For example, a teenager wants a car. I didn't want a car growing up, but that's besides the point. We can afford to give it to them. Indeed, we're happy that we're in a position to do this. Should we? My answer is caution. I think that we'd be better off if we say, you need a car? I'm willing to give you a down payment, but you're going to have to work to cover the car payments. What are we doing? A little struggle is important. It instills a work ethic and teaches that the world does not owe us a living. That's what God is telling the Israelites. You're going to come into the promised land. You're going to have to work for this. It's not going to be given to you anymore. The manna is going to be cut off. You're going to have to work. You're going to have to care for each other. You have to look out for each other. That's what this is about. May we contemplate this message. Sometimes getting everything we want works against us. That is such an insightful test that God gives to the Jewish people in the wilderness. I believe that God has taught us something really important. A little struggle goes a long way. It builds appreciation and character. And they are two ingredients that we need in great quantities in our lives today. Shabbat Shalom.